This video gets sent out to all 150 members of life groups. And I have a message for each one of you, an invitation. I would like to draw you in to become a greeter at church, an unofficial greeter. Where this comes from is we did a starting point the other day. New people came to our house, and one thing that all the newer people seem to say to us again and again is that they wish the church was a little bit friendlier. That it seems like people who have been here a long time are very well connected, but when you're new, it's hard to break in. And so what I'd like to challenge, I've challenged our entire staff, I'm challenging our elders, and I'm challenging you. On Sunday, how about making it a point to meet one person you don't know? Doesn't matter if the person is brand new to the church or not, it's just somebody that's new to you. And if you're especially motivated, how about introducing that one person then to somebody you do know? But can you imagine if on each week, each of us had a goal of meeting one person we don't know? I think we would transform the culture here, and without a very long time, or in a very short time rather, we would become known as that's the friendly church. So that's what we have. Now I want to talk about some of what I was teaching on rewards from last week. And I want to make sure you understand the distinction between salvation and rewards. And I've got some information up here on the whiteboard. But salvation is a gift from God. It is something that He gives us based on our faith. He gives us by His grace. We have a present possession of it, and it's something we can never lose. And it's all 100% on Him. But then the Bible also talks about rewards. Rewards are something that are earned. Rewards are given to us in the future in heaven, and rewards can be lost. The concept of rewards appears 23 times in the New Testament. Many of these come directly from Jesus' own teaching. I want to read to you some of the verses. These verses I have listed up on the board. Matthew 5:46, Jesus said, if you love those who love you, what reward will you get? In other words, what merit is there in that? Matthew 16:27, Jesus said, for the Son of Man is going to come in His Father's glory with His angels, and then He will reward each person according to what he has done, according to what he has done. What each one of us has done. And then 1 Corinthians chapter 3, Paul wrote, inspired by the Holy Spirit, the man who plants and the man who waters have one purpose. Of course, that is bringing about the salvation of others. And each will be rewarded according to his own labor. And then a few verses later in 1 Corinthians 3, Paul talks about our lives being represented by the construction of a building. We have the foundation of Jesus Christ, the foundation of salvation. So what do we do with our life? And he says here, starting verse 13, His work, my work, your work, will be shown for what it is, because the day, in other words, the day of the Lord's return, will bring it to light. It'll be revealed with fire, and the fire will test the quality of each man's work. If what he has built survives, he will receive his reward. If it is burned up, he will suffer loss. He himself will be saved, but only as one escaping through the flames. So anyhow, that talks about the rewards. In my understanding is awards appear to be greater responsibility, or at least I understand it as greater responsibility in heaven. Now, one could argue, yeah, but isn't it just going to be a reward to live forever? Absolutely. Won't it be a reward to be with Christ? Absolutely. No greater reward than that. Won't it be a reward to have a mansion, to have access to fresh water and food, with minimal labor? Yes. But rewards in the context of all these 23 verses appear to be greater responsibility. The parable of the minas, Luke 19:7, says this, that the owner gave different people each one mina and said, here, I'm going to go away. I want you to do something with this. When I come back, you have to give an account. And so one person took that mina, which, by the way, it has a value today of only $17. One came back and said, hey, man, I invested that one and I've turned it into 10 minas. Another person said, I've taken the 5, I've turned it into 5. Listen to what Jesus taught here. He says, well done, my good servant. And that's all, we all want to hear that, right? His master replied, because you have been trustworthy in a very small matter, take charge of 10 cities. Man, talk about generosity and reward. The second came and said, sir, your mina has earned 5 more. His master answered, you take charge of 5 cities. And so we see in there this concept of reward and responsibility. There's also in the Bible the idea of crowns. 5 different crowns are mentioned. The crown that lasts forever, the crown of righteousness, the crown of life, the crown of rejoicing, the crown of glory. And who wears crowns? Kings and queens wear crowns. People who rule wear crowns. And I want you to understand that the whole concept of rewards might sound foreign to us because we don't do it for a reward. That's not a primary motivation. Our motivation is to please and honor God. However, rewards are mentioned, so they are biblical. But due to our fallen nature, what we tend to think is along with rewards come pride and boasting and arrogance. And that won't be the case. When we get to heaven and I find out, just for example, maybe I have one city I've been given charge of. And even as such would be amazing. I'm not going to look at the person who has 2 cities or 5 cities or 10 cities or Paul, that Apostle Paul has 100 cities and go, wow, man, I can't believe you got 100. I've only got this one little city. And likewise, I won't be able to go to somebody who's got maybe one building to manage and go, oh, that's all you got? Man, I got a whole city. There will be none of that. There will be no pride, no arrogance, no boasting, none of it. There will be a hierarchy in government, how God will choose to rule his universe, but there will not be a hierarchy relationally or socially because we will be in the world where the curse has been reversed. So I wanted to add that clarity on the teaching. Thanks for tuning in.